Hey, Gemini, Intuitive Soul Coach here with your June 2024 bonus reading. Welcome back to my channel if you are returning, and welcome if you're new. If you're interested in a personal reading, signing up for the monthly newsletter, or entering into the free reading giveaway, you can find all of that information in the description box below the video. All right, Gemini, this reading is all about becoming the best version of you. So we'll take a look at your greatest strengths, your fullest potential, action steps, and what the outcome looks like if you move forward in this energy. So this is investing in yourself. What does that look like for you? Now, your overall energy is the Two of Wands. It is in reverse, so some of you may have felt a little bit indecisive, or you had a choice, or you are currently going through some changes in your life, Gemini, that do require you to make a choice. Do I stay in this old paradigm, or do I move forward in a new energy? And some of you, you felt a little bit trapped or stuck in the Ace of Wands. So I'm doing something a little different in this reading. Instead of pulling clarifiers from a new deck, I'm actually asking Spirit to show me the clarifier in my mind's eye. So right away here, your overall energy is the Two of Wands, but the clarifier that I'm getting is actually the Ace of Wands. So sometimes it may feel like you are moving forward just to take two steps backwards, because I'm getting a little bit of that push and pull, a little bit of indecisiveness here. Now, there also may have been an idea or a dream or a goal that you had, but it took a little bit of a detour, is what I'm getting here. Yeah, it took a bit of a detour. Bottom of the deck, we have Knight of Pentacles. Perhaps it was very slow moving for you. This could be really gaining that momentum in order to take something to the next level, right? Maybe you felt like you didn't have the resources, or you had put so much time and energy into something, but it was going really slowly. This could also be an expansion of opportunities. You feel like your opportunities were limited for some reason, but becoming the best version of you requires you to get out of or step out of indecisiveness or an old story. Now, the clarifier being the Ace of Wands here is about chasing your dreams. It's about a new sense of purpose, reinventing yourself, Gemini, from the inside out. And I feel like you have a lot of optimism. You have a lot of creative energy. You are someone who sets goals and you can slay them. You really can. But sometimes we get stuck in that, airy energy. I'm a Libra. I get it. I'm an air sign just like you, Gemini. And it's important to follow through on some of those ideas, because we can have many different ones, or we have many different dreams. And I feel like Spirit is saying now is the time to open yourself up to expansion and to set boundaries for yourself to become that best version. And that may require saying no to people, places, or things. That may require you stepping out of that old paradigm or even a comfort zone, because you are stuck a little bit in this two energy, which is about choices, partnerships. It's duality. It is diversity. And I feel like Spirit is saying trust, even though you may not see what an outcome looks like, right? You may not know where something is going to go, because it may feel a little bit too slow for you, Gemini. And sometimes you like to be, quick, or you like to have instantaneous results, right? We all like to have some sort of instant gratification at times, but it takes a little bit of time, or it is taking time, and that can frustrate you, where you may want to give up, or you may be impulsive, where you take a little bit of a detour in a new direction and you don't give 100% to a dream that you have, or even to a relationship, or even to your own self-healing. I feel like there's something here with like a shortcut, trying to take a shortcut, or trying to manifest something beyond the time that it's ready for full fruition. It's like baking cookies, right? You bake the cookies, you're putting in the work, mixing up the eggs and the flour and the sugar, and you've done the work by putting it on the pan, but you are feeling a little bit impatient while it's cooking, and you're opening the oven door, and you have to wait 15 minutes, 12 minutes, and there's that sense of, I don't want to wait, I want to eat that cookie. I've put in the blood, sweat, and tears, and it's like you keep pulling it out at 5 minutes, at 6 minutes, and it still needs to cook. They still need to cook, but you keep opening it up and it almost causes a little bit of that delay. So I feel like there is something Spirit is saying, let it flow the way it's supposed to without maybe checking on it every second, or, obsessing about it, or wanting it to get done quicker than it's ready. I get that here for you. But the Ace of Wands showing up as the clarifier could be maybe going back to point A in a situation and going back to maybe the original point of interest for you, Gemini, or some sort of trigger or a belief that may have been rooted, because aces are about new beginnings. They're about leadership and the self and the courage. They're also gifts. So I feel like there is a gift here when it comes to becoming that best version. So you may be feeling like you're taking a couple steps back, but I feel if there's something coming up that you're indecisive, go back to the original, POI, point of interest is what I'm getting here, and see where this is originating from, because that may give you more insight into how to move forward. And we'll take a look at the action steps here as well. But your greatest strength is the Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands showing up as your greatest strength is standing up for your beliefs. It is about you being brave, protecting your integrity, protecting maybe your name, your reputation, your dignity. This can also be your craft, your dreams. And instead of feeling like you are walking on eggshells, or feeling pressure coming in from all angles, or feeling defensive or defenseless, take a look and see why or what circumstance created that defensiveness or that pressure, or what made you feel like you were constantly on guard. And so I'm getting that you're non-conforming. It's like you're pushing away the curtain. And you can see in this Seven of Wands, there's a star behind her, and she's pushing away, and she's saying, I'm staying in my own lane. Female or male, it does not matter. But this is about you focusing on what you can control. That's your greatest strength here. You can fall back into that fight or flight mode, that defensive mode. Spirit, what's the clarifier here? Okay, Four of Swords. Thank you. So Four of Swords is mental stability. So there is something here about the mind, and you, Gemini, are an air sign. You're all about the mind. So it may be about not falling back into a state of imbalance within the mind. And again, indecisiveness or oscillating, going back and forth. There's something that you're riding the fence of, and it feels like we keep going back into maybe an old story, an old paradigm, an old belief, or an old thought pattern that tends to tell us that we have to be in fight or flight, right? Or tends to tell us that we have to feel this pressure, or we have to feel a certain way. But when this shows up as your greatest strength, because remember, this is the best version of you, becoming the best version, and what we need to do to incorporate more of that energy into your world. Spirit is saying here, stand up for what you stand for, right? Stand up for what you stand for. And what is it that you stand for? And it may be defending yourself in some way, even if that disappoints others, or even if it means that you speak what you need to speak, or what you need to say, even though it could potentially trigger others. I am getting here, Gemini, you being kind and compassionate, of course, with yourself. And I just feel like there's something that you're ready to put out into the world, or there's a version of you that you're ready to put out into the world instead of holding your light back. And because something has been masked, something has been shadowed within your energy. And because I'm getting Four of Swords as the clarifier, you may have even been obsessing about something, ignoring the signs of rest, overthinking, overworking. Yeah, some of you may have even compiled a lot of your energy and put it towards maybe work, or it just feels mentally exhausting here to be in that constant state of, feeling pressure in some way. I mean, it could be mental pressure. It could be spiritual pressure. I'm getting here resistance. So there may have been a path that you may have felt resistant to. But I am getting here with your fullest potential. The Temperance energy is about balance, right? It's about patience. And again, there's a little bit of a theme, a little bit of a pattern here around this Temperance. So it can be tempering our emotions. This is your fullest potential. This Temperance can be about waiting for, the cookies to get done because you're going to enjoy them so much more. If you go to, pull them out when they've only been in there for 6 minutes, you're going to get a big gooey mess. And yeah, it may taste good, but I feel like Spirit is saying allow something to fully develop and pay attention to why you may be reverting back to an old you or an old conditioned you. Because you're not what you've been conditioned to believe. There's something about you that someone may have told you, Gemini, that you're not good enough, not smart enough, or you'll never amount to this, or you can't be in that relationship, or whatever it may be, right? Maybe it stemmed from childhood. Maybe it was an old relationship, but there's some sort of belief that you started to tell yourself over and over because someone else did, or maybe you started to tell yourself that because of how something was playing out in your life. And I feel like you're being asked to find balance here, to find the sun, find the joy. You can actually see the sun right above her. And when the Temperance shows up, this is Sagittarian energy. So you may even see by Sag season, Gemini, that you are fully becoming that best version of you, and your fullest potential has manifested in reality. So some sort of goal that you've had, or again, self-development, a healing piece that you've been working towards. This can be even career or love, whatever it may be for you. It's going to be different for each and every one of you. But the Temperance here in Sagittarian season is November, December, but this is blending energies. It's about moderation, moderating, what we do, what we eat, our emotions. It is finding that balance, because when we're thrown off balance, and I'm actually asking for the clarifier here, and I'm getting the Queen of Swords, and I was seeing actually the Queen of Swords holding the Justice scales, both Libran energies. It could be karma for some of you. For some of you, you may have been dealing with a Libra, but I'm also getting here maybe even rebalancing out some emotional baggage or emotional karma. Okay, now when the Temperance shows up as well, this can be about going to complete extremes, and it could be within your, your thoughts, your mental agility with that Queen of Swords energy. For some of you, it can be saying things out of line, or maybe other people have been very blunt with their words. This can also be emotion. Sometimes the Queen of Swords, she can feel very aloof. She can feel very blunt at times. It may feel like she's heartless, but it's not because she is, right? There could be some sort of imbalance that has been created based on conditioning. And that's what I see here. And that's what your fullest potential is, Gemini, is to be patient with yourself. You've been transforming. You've been going through the feels. You've been going through some deep-seated foundational shifts even, because I see with your action step, you have the World. And the world here, and I should back it up, because I was seeing the justice scale, some of you may have gone through a divorce, a legal situation, or definitely a karmic relationship or a karmic tie. Some of you are breaking ancestral patterns as well. I'm getting lineage and bloodline, all that good stuff. But your action step is the world. You've completed a cycle that was very, very impactful to your human experience here and for the evolution of your soul, but we don't have to keep going back and replaying it. And that may be why you're feeling a little bit indecisive at this time, Gemini, is because you know that something has ended, or you've hit a glass ceiling, or you've come to a finish line here, but it's like you've grown to be accustomed to that adrenaline, or to that, pain, or to a fight or flight with the Seven of Wands, right? This is your greatest strength. So your greatest strength is to break out of that mold, and to, instead of feeling pressure, like imagine yourself being in a race and you're racing and you're tired and you're thirsty and you keep going one foot in front of the other. And then when you get to the end of it, there is this, downtime of really processing and working through all your feelings and your thirst and the pain and, your feet being sore or whatever it may be. Right? I feel like you are processing still some of the ending, but your heart's still thumping. There's still this adrenaline. And I feel like your action step is to embrace that. But some of you may be wanting to jump the gun. You're like, okay, something is over here. I need to crash through and move in this new energy or whatever it may be. But allow yourself that Four of Swords. Allow yourself that downtime to kind of rest and get back into a place of kind of calming down from what you have gone through. And when the world shows up, this is, accomplishment. It is completion. It can be a victory. It can be celebration. You've completed a major cycle. For some of you, it could even be world travel. Okay, this can be a sense of feeling success, but enjoy that success is the message that I'm getting here. Enjoy, the victory. Stop and smell the roses in a sense. Allow yourself to embrace this in between that you're still kind of coming off of, and you haven't quite hit the stride of a new beginning yet, but allow yourself to just be present in this in between. And I feel like that's the action here. And remembering that the world is your oyster. And some of you may even feel very, I don't want to say lost, because I don't feel like it's a lost energy, but you may still feel like there's more to accomplish. Yeah, it's almost like a lack of closure, or because that adrenaline rush, right? Think of the race. It's that adrenaline is still there, and you're like, well, I should be doing something with this energy, or I should be, and because there is that feeling that still exists, it's like you want to get back in that race and you want to do it again, even though you're exhausted or you've completed something. But that's just, our bodies. That's just, or the mind saying, that's where you should be. But there could be some sort of reversion. Is that a word? I don't think so. Like reverting back to that old pattern or an old cycle, because that's what you are accustomed to. And your action step is to complete out a cycle. Spirit, what do we have here for the world, please? What do we have for the world? The Fool. Yeah, the Fool. There is the ending, bringing in a new beginning here. And so you are in that in-between stage where you haven't quite wrapped up this old cycle, because there's something here with pause, rest. Maybe there is travel involved and you come back from travel, or, this can be hitting a glass ceiling in a job, but you're looking for a new job, right? So you may still feel like you're in a little bit of a limbo period, but Spirit is saying, actioning it up by just being present and feeling the success and feeling what you've gone through as well. And that can be why we've seen the Queen of Swords and the Justice show up as well, because it's important to drop into our feelings instead of really getting in our heads. Four of Swords. Okay, what do we have here for Messages, what do we need to know? Advice, aid of inspiration. There is that fast, quick moving energy here as well. So if there has been a little bit of a delay, the advice here is things are going to speed up here in no time for you. So try not to be in too big of a rush. Okay, because there could be a message right on the border, right on the edge. It could be even within 8 days of this reading, no later than 8 weeks. But I definitely feel like 8 days could be significant. The 8th day of June could be significant for you as well. Some of you, this is your birthday. I think the 6th as well is at the new moon. That could be very significant. But I'm getting that there's going to be some form of, oh, okay. Yeah. Some of you, something has been either cut off or communication may have felt cut off, or you weren't meant to know the outcome of something quite yet. Okay. Because you were guided to take a look at, going back to the original, again, point of interest on something, because the path that you were going on, Gemini, there is a divine detour. There's some sort of detour where you thought you were going to go to point A to Z, right? But it's like along the way, you had to experience everything else in between. And I feel like there was a big course correction or a big pivot, or maybe a dream or something didn't turn out the way that you thought it would. But I feel like you're going to receive some sort of incoming news or a download, communication. You have 2 travel cards here as well. Some of you could be traveling. Someone could be traveling to see you, or messages, news, communication. So messages here or advice is saying allow things to flow in the direction that they're supposed to. Keep actioning it up, of course. Spirit, what's the clarifier here for the 8 of Wands? 8 of Wands, I'm getting slow down, slow. Okay, they're highlighting the Knight of Pentacles. And this is interesting because these are almost 2 opposite energies. So slowing down, maybe not making impulsive decisions, because we have the Fool. It's right behind the World. So there is a big, big new beginning. The World and the Fool are not small. They're not minor arcanas. These are big life milestones for you. So you could be wrapping up an old job, old relationship, an old health concern or issue, old karmic pattern, something within yourself, a major lesson that you've learned. And now you're ready to incorporate what you've learned and bring that into a new beginning. But I also see that some of you may revert to an old pattern based in the past, but that's not what Spirit wants you to do moving into a new beginning. That's why there's been lessons. And perhaps some of you, you've taken a couple steps back, or it feels that way because what you're doing is reverting back to old patterns. And that's why I think the POI, point of interest, is really showing up here in a big way, so we don't revert back to something again. Knight of Materials is your clarifier. That's what I'm getting here. So it's slow and steady wins the race. It's also, and hence the whole race that we're clarifying, because when you go in strong right away, you're going to get exhausted and burnt out before you hit that finish line. And I feel like there's there's something new coming in here with that Fool. But your advice is to be open to communicating with your higher self. This is being open to maybe even relocating. This could be movement in some way, shape, or form. Getting out of a comfort zone. That's what it is too. And focus. Spirit just said focus, loud and clear. And it was also Taurus, or maybe even Aries. I think it was Taurus. Some of you Gemini may be on that Taurian cusp. Or maybe during Taurus season, you are guided to really focus your intentions, because that's the advice here, is to focus on a new story or a new outcome versus, and also focusing on being present, of course. But I keep seeing here not going back to the past, not going back to that indecisiveness. Once you make up your mind, let that be it, is kind of what I'm hearing. All right, let's take a look at the celebration. What's the outcome? Four of material. So four of material is the Four of Pentacles. And this is about stability, managing your resources, but sometimes it can be us sitting on, resources. It can be us sitting on something because we're too fearful to maybe make a purchase, make an investment, or, we don't want to lose something. Maybe tangible. We don't want to let it go. And why is this your outcome? Because you're releasing an old way of hanging on, or the way that you've hung on or attached yourself to something. The celebration here is you're releasing yourself to it, and there's a sense of surrender. You're surrendering to that new beginning. And even though you may be, wanting to have a certain quick transition, I feel like there is absolutely a transition. But with this being your celebratory energy, I feel like you are getting out of that scarcity or poverty conscious mindset, or lack of, or whatever you had attached yourself so heavily to. You are releasing, and you actually see the roses here. So it does remind me of being able to kind of stop and smell the roses. And then they're really highlighting the camel in the background. And so there's something here with like having enough in reserve. Don't the camels, they have their water in their hump. So there's something here with being hydrated, having the resources, being able to have some sort of support here that maybe you felt like you didn't have in the past, specifically around finances, money, material gains. This can also be, focusing on, it's almost like, what do you have to lose? But at the same time, I'm getting, you have everything to gain. You have everything to gain. And that's what I get here is gains, gains, gains. So by moving towards a new direction and letting go of something you were hanging on to, you have everything to gain. Instead of focusing on, well, what do I have to lose? I have a lot to lose. I don't want to lose this. I don't want to lose that, right? But by kind of releasing the grip that you've had on something actually brings a lot more success and gain. Spirit, what is the clarifying card here? Ooh, okay. Three of Swords. Three of Swords is the card of disappointment. It is the card of heartache, painful truth, separation, betrayal, third party. It can be rejection. It can be, in a job, in a relationship. It can be heart stuff, heart health. But I feel like you are letting go of some sort of anxiety, some sort of pain, depression, and that is the card of separation. So some sort of separation or pain that you have endured, you may have been hanging on to because maybe that pain is kind of what you grew used to in your comfort zone. But really what it did was it blocked you from becoming the best version of yourself. And what I see you doing, that's why you're celebrating. Ooh, this is a big one. You're celebrating letting go and releasing that pain and creating more stability in your physical world, because you are not hanging on to, that old story. You're not pulling out the cookies before they're ready. You are letting them come to fruition. And the first bite, you're going to say, thank goodness I didn't keep checking on them. That may have been the pattern of the past, right? I'm going to eat half the dough before I even stick it in the oven. I'm going to keep opening it or keep turning on the light. But as they say, the boiling pot of water, staring at it, it's not going to boil. But I feel like kind of refocusing on something maybe new, or, maybe how good those cookies are going to taste when they come to fruition. There is something you are doing differently this time around, and it's actually allowing you to move and take that leap towards the Fool, towards some sort of really beautiful new journey, Gemini. That is what I have for you. I hope it resonates. If so, please hit that thumbs up button. Feel free to share, like, subscribe, and hit that bell if you haven't already. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Lots of love.